Regarding synthetic control trials, can you elaborate on their use against the background of the participants' responses?
Yeah, I'll jump in just as a starting point. I think synthetic controls are emerging as perhaps one of the more important opportunities for real world evidence in this space, and in particular in earlier stage drug development. This is something that we've seen really come to the forefront, I think, over the course of the past year. So it's really gaining a lot of attention, I think, out there in the industry. And you know, as you heard today, the areas where it seems to be most relevant or most prominent are areas where the clinical trials are more challenging. Rare diseases, oncology, Amy has talked about some of those, but those seem to be the places where the regulators are more comfortable, I think, in moving in this space, because the trials are difficult to enroll, because randomization is not appealing to patients in those settings. And it can also, from an operational perspective, can actually accelerate the timelines for the study because enrollment is facilitated. It can actually then therefore it can accelerate the approvals and getting those really important new therapies, I think, out to patients that much more quickly. So I think we're seeing a tremendous uptick in the interest in synthetic controls and the application of synthetic controls in the industry. And I would expect that to continue as one of the more prominent uses for real world evidence as we move forward.
The only thing I would add to that is, you know, I can speak from my experience in oncology during my time at the FDA. You know, especially in an accelerated approval situation where FDA would accept a single arm trial, they didn't accept that without providing context around the data in that single arm trial. They would look at what is in the published literature. They would look at, you know, is there, you know, a natural history cohort that we can compare this to? And they would do that with, you know, with an eyeball perspective, not with any sort of statistical rigor. And so, you know, when we call it a synthetic control arm, we're just putting more rigor around what we would provide for that synthetic control arm. And so I think the concept is not something new. We're just we're formalizing it more, putting more rigor around the methodology and calling it something different, because it's something that I think that we've always done. We've always looked to the literature for what could we expect for a therapeutic effect for something. And so this is just the next iteration of this type of look at a comparative control.
One thing I would add too is we did hear a lot of excitement related to synthetic control arms and the speed, and certainly that it's patient-centric. But we did also hear a little bit of conservatism emerge, where a few of our experts shared, you know, that while they didn't refer to it as a synthetic control arm, that they were using RWE really as a hybrid model to reduce, you know, the size of a trial design, size of a cohort, and to expedite approval. And I thought that was interesting, because I thought it, in a way, also suggested that there certainly is some concern that without clear regulatory guidance, we need to be prudent in how we deploy these types of resources. Yet clearly they're using this opportunity in time to be able to use RWE and educate their entire companies on how it can really have a true value proposition for patients and their organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that did come up. It's amazing how much of this is interwoven and touches on each part, but also I can't remember specifically who, but yeah, driving the C-suite decisions, really it coming to the fore now, I guess from them seeing results or excitement around data. So that was...
Right. Because it's really, to Amy's point, I think this new verbiage or language, synthetic control arm, is exciting, but for some, I think because it's unknown and foreign, can actually feel like it's newer than it really is, right? That we're applying more rigor, not less.